Hello, everybody. Welcome to Bish's RV. Down here at Grand Design today, getting some updated footage. It's been a couple years since I went through this one, and they have made some very good, very smart moves and improvements on this. What's brilliant about this floor plan is that they took everything they were doing well, and then they just took your feedback on how to make it better, and then just did that. Isn't that a crazy concept? Give the people what they want, and the people that actually can't maybe have a clue. And that's literally how they went about this one. So this floor plan comes in under 30 foot. It'll work for a lot of half tons. It's generally going to be regarded as half ton towable. We have a very solid extended season weather package, really good running gear too, with Goodyear tires, prepped for TPMS. Also has an anti-lock braking factory standard on here, one of the very few brands of travel trailers with that enhanced safety feature. The patio awning space on this could not be better. They put the biggest awning on it they possibly could. Huge front pass-through. The whole chassis, it's not a traditional Lippert I-beam chassis, but it still has their 1+3+5 year RV structural and frame warranty applied to this. They've enhanced the solar package. We've got a 300-pound receiver hitch on the back. And we are still, though, carpetless, ventless, easy cleaning, campside window coverage, really good kitchen counter space and storage given no bigger than the RV is. They've enhanced the lighting package on this. It has a really big walk-through bathroom, but one of the brilliant parts of this floor plan is this is one of the few instances where you have a walk-through bathroom that when the slide closes does not cut the camper in half. Even though the RV has two entry doors, you can go up to the true queen bed and all the way back to the kitchen without ever opening the slide out. They just really, really did this one so nicely right here. It's got a couple things people may not. Some people are like, I hate walk-through bathrooms. This is probably not the right camper for you then. But for the most part, I have to go looking for trouble in this thing with the mapping glasses. It's really dialed in. And you know, when I first recorded this RV for the first time a couple years ago, I think right on the YouTube thumbnail, it just said nailed it. I'm probably gonna, in case you hadn't already spotted it, I'm probably gonna call this one Nailed It Harder.
Phrasing.
Because they did everything that they were doing well. They continued to do it. And then the little features here and there that you didn't really care for and you left feedback on, they did those. They fixed those. They listened to you and they said, all right, we think we had a good package here, but you guys have a couple ideas that we kind of like. We're going to apply those. And I love what they put together here. First of all, there's been no shortage over the years of smaller, lighter weight rear kitchen campers. The irony is that a lot of the rear kitchens had, in a sub 30-foot space anyway, had crap for kitchen storage or counter space. And I think that is probably one of the biggest nailed it factors on this RV right here. They actually gave us really good storage and really, really good counter space here. And I'm going to come back in a few minutes and get all this opened up for you. I think last year they updated to the Tron lightsaber lighting. And the nice thing is it's on a bit of a dimmer function. So if you want to die that down, you can. Based on your feedback, I think they used to only have like a frosty glass window in the door. It's been a little while since I went through it. But they said, we're going to give you a full window in the entry door, and we're going to build the privacy shade right into it, right from the factory level. Again, took what they did and just made it better based on your input and your feedback. And I love it when a manufacturer listens like that. By the way, what do you think of this flooring as we go through this video? I've seen a couple people leave some very conflicting feedback on the flooring. Some people love it, some people don't. I don't know. You leave me your impression of it. I like the shoe garage right by the door. I think that's a nice touch. And the lack of floor vents and carpet makes this RV very, very easy cleaning. Now, their dining table is a little bit different. And if you're going to go with a pedestal post style dining, I actually think this is probably about the best one out there because basically it's sturdy, it's stable, but it's a single big leg. It's mostly out of the way. It's really not a major knee knocker where it feels like it's constantly, interfering with you and being a problem. The other thing is this is one of the first floor plans. A lot of RVs have since adopted styling like this. Pardon me, I got the hiccups apparently. Hopefully that subsides before the video's done. But with the TV straight across from the theater seat and campsite window coverage. This is also one of the first RVs that really started cracking that code. Now, in my videos, I make no secret about the fact that, yeah, the TV's mounted fairly high, but this RV is 6.5 foot tall. It's not an extra tall RV. which means not as much headroom in the shower, but it also means I don't have to crank my neck up so hard to see it. A lot of people said they also didn't like the window treatments that were in here. So they kind of just gave you a simple, clean roller for those blackout roller shades. And notice how that's wiggling, but you're not hearing it go tink, tink, tink. I'm not using like a noise canceling mic or anything. You know, you can probably hear my, feet tapping as I walk around the RV sometimes, or if I bump my butt into the sparker knob on the stovetops, which I do periodically. They purposely sought out a window treatment that doesn't have that annoying tinkling sound constantly as you walk around the RV. Because the stabilizers help, but, trailers have a way of wiggling a little bit even when you don't necessarily want them to. Something that I really like over here is how they gave us the basically extra large but yet still cuddle compliant theater seat where, if you want to snuggle up to each other or if you want to sling your legs across your partner's lap and get a foot rub, you totally could. But if you prefer the population control, well, you can just drop down this extra large armrest and that's where your cup holders are located. The thing is, it'd be nice if they were in the sofa arms, but those sofa arms move when the chair reclines, and that could be a little bit of a spill problem. One of the other neat things is hiding back here. You've got some USB plugs, and all you got to do is push it, and it releases and gives you 2 USB plugs. Now, they're just Type A's. They're not the cool Type C's or anything like that. They're a low charge also. So it's not something that's going to like charge your phone quickly, but it's not going to provide zero juice either. Now, I think, at least for a while, the XLS series of Imagine that we're standing in had an 8 cubic foot, 12 volt compressor fridge, and they have since updated and upgraded into the larger 10 cubic foot family here. Now, it's kind of tucked away behind the cabinet door in these like triple drawers that pop out below the pantry space here. But this RV does still have a propane oven. There's been a major trend in the industry as of late getting rid of ovens, mostly to control expense, I think everybody would love it if the RV was a little bit less expensive, and one of the ways you can knock $400 or $500 off a camper real fast is to take an oven out of it. So that's the why behind that trend. This is all pocket screwed lumber core cabinetry, by the way. You might notice you've got the magnet holdbacks and the nice hidden hinges all the way through. You may notice too this funky little block off in that corner, and how you've got this like corner post that doesn't go all the way to the wall, like a little spice rack in there. That's actually where they hide what is delicately known as the stink pipe from the kitchen gray tank. It runs up that rear corner, and that's why you'll see a little black exhaust cap sticking up over the rear corner of the RV right there. But I overall, like I said, for a small RV, they give us some really nice storage capacity in here. The RV's got a 1,200 pound, give or take, cargo carry capacity. I think that's okay. I definitely wouldn't want it to be any less, but like I'm all right with it where it is. I also just noticed it just has a cool looking sink, Most sinks in RVs are just flat, and that's actually got some texture to it. I love the look of it. Flipping around the other direction here. They could have gone with a giant U-dinette, but they didn't, and I'm honestly not upset about that because it created more easy access storage right here, which is never, I think, a wrong answer. It gave us that shoe garage, and it gave us yet another of the salt and pepper charging stations here where you push it real good. The cool thing on this one is it's got 2 USB plugs, but that's also a wireless phone charger. What does this switch do? Oh, hello. Little motion activated lighting that you can turn on and off down there under the those drawers. Okay. That's cool. We learned something here. Every now and then it pays just to push switches. Funny story about pushing switches, which is different from pushing buttons. That I do mostly with my wife and daughter. But when I was younger, when I was about knee-high to a grasshopper, I was camping with my grandparents, and we were dry camping. And I didn't know what that meant back then, but that's how I grew up. And I walked in the RV, and there was this red switch under the kitchen countertop right where I could reach it. And my curious little fingers went, I wonder what that does. And I flicked it, and it lit up. And I was like, cool. I fixed it. I turned it on for Grandpa and Grandma. And then I realized later, it was a red light. Maybe you shouldn't turn on something if it's a red light. So I went back and I turned it off. And I played around the camper all day. By the way, here's a look at me on the toilet while I'm giving you my RV story. Well, after playing around the RV for a while, my grandpa came back from fishing in the lake. And it sounds like he fell in the lake. He might have. I don't know. But I went, Grandpa, I flicked the switch and the light turned red. He goes, don't do that. And I'm like, well, I did it for like an hour. And he just went, oh, no. And while you're looking at me standing in the shower, those of you who camp already know what happened. I burned up his water heater element. Because he, back then, on-demand water heaters were not a thing. He wasn't super happy and had to get that replaced. But, that's the thing with kids. You love them through it. By the way, just so you can see it, I'm trying to do a better job of showing you these things when I can. It's got the handy little retractable shower door there. And this is the basic small vent fan in the bathroom. It's not the big fancy pants fan. Interesting. I noticed they changed the light type here in the bathroom. I wonder if it's probably just what they had to do. I don't know. I don't know. I just noticed they did that. I thought that was interesting, which is why I said interesting. On Scooby-Doo, they would have said jinkies. Now, here's the thing. I don't like to do fisheye wide-angle camera lensing. So as a result, my bedroom footage like this, sometimes you're right up close and personal and stuff. So as long as we're staring at these drawers, we're going to go ahead and pop those suckers right open. And there have been a couple other RV manufacturers who have started to do a really good job of bedroom storage, but this is another one of those nailed it level features, like fully enclosing the storage over the bed. And actually, that is deceptively deep back there. I don't even know if you can really get a sense of the scope and the scale, but that's, because Americans use anything but the metric system. That's about 2 basketballs deep. In case you are curious, you may notice the little headboard power pocket charging side stands. There's household and USB outlets there. That'll have both a USB standard and C-type. But in case you're curious, that is sized so that basically most of the CPAP machines used today will fit in there and kind of stay tucked out of the way. They've always kind of done this interesting thing with their storage under the bed as well, where there's it's half the height of the full storage trunk space, which is obviously easy lift with gas struts, but there's basically a sliding tray drawer thing that's there, if you want to use it. You could always take it out if you didn't want it. In case you're curious, it's interesting they put the TV hookups on that wall, well, on the ceiling by that wall, but the TV backer is actually on the wall across from the bed, which is where I think it makes the most sense. What you may not have realized is that in the meantime, I have actually closed the slide for road mode, and this right here was another of those nailed it level features I think they applied to this RV. Because most of the time in the industry, when you have a walk-through bathroom like this, you have to use the door in the bedroom to be able to access the bedroom and the bathroom in transit. And you don't have to do that here. The way that they have this with the extra large bathroom door, even with the slide closed, you can still very easily slide right through this thing. You can get to basically everything. Now, if you are at a travel stop where it gets a little bit tighter, at a travel stop, the microwave isn't going to function unless you have a generator, so kind of keep that in mind. The stovetop is a little more difficult to reach. I think if my life depended on it, I could still make that work, but the sink is easier to reach. If they tried to move the stove over here, right next to the entry door, then I think a lot of people would say that's a potential burning hazard, or if I'm standing at the stove and somebody wants to come in and out of the RV, that's going to be an annoying inconvenience. So I think that no matter what they do, they're going to have somebody say they did it wrong, but I think the way that they did it here is the least wrong of all the wrong potential things. So as we've demonstrated, front to back to back to front again, excellent road mode access and function on this camper. And just to demonstrate that there's nothing tricky going on, I can legitimately just walk through this, did my shoulder, rub the wall a little bit. Yeah, but I didn't even have to turn sideways. Here's another reason I personally consider this A+ travel access. Because the dinette is not in a slide, there's zero question as whether you can or cannot sit in, use, and occupy that in transit. So this has bedroom, bathroom, kitchen, dining functions, all available without opening the slide. Most RVs can't match that. And if you like the extra look at all this stuff, hit that subscribe button because we do it for you in every video. Now, if we talk towing, generally speaking, this is going to fit within the realm of a lot of half-ton towability. Typically, the Imagine XLS family most often does. Now, we've got a gross vehicle weight, a maximum weight with full cargo, just under 7,000, basically 7,000 pounds. And that, I think, is a reasonable pairing for what people commonly call half-ton towable, especially the hitch weight's not too far out of whack, and the whole RV is under 30 foot, depending on your truck, depending on where you're going to take it, because where you're towing is as important as what you're towing and what you're towing with. I think that there's some serious half-ton towing potential here. Obviously, you need to examine that on a case-by-case basis. You may have noticed that motion-activated light in the pass-through kick off while I was yakking over here. If we get close to this thing, and then just off camera, if I start waving my hand like a madman, it'll probably eventually pick us up. There we go. Okay, finally got it. Oh, I'm glad that light kicked up. Look at that. Look at that nice, like, toy hauler rubberized diamond plate flooring they have there. I kind of like that. So, first of all, cargo is less inclined to shift around. Two, it doesn't tend to scuff stuff up. Like if you want to toss your hitch in there, you're not too worried about gouging it up too awful bad. Now, this is, I guess you call it the middle member of the Imagine family, the XLS series. There's not a ton of major differences between full-blood Imagine in the back and this one, but it's very easy to see that this is an SLS, or XLS, sorry, because it says XLS on the nose, but also it doesn't have the candy-coated nose cap, nor does it have the barreled interior ceiling. It still has a barreled exterior roofline, of course. One of the things that Imagine does well, it's just part of their DNA, though. Look at the awning size on this. It's huge. Mr. Garrett, the nerd video editor, if you could you flash the section of the specs with the awning length across the bottom of the screen there for everybody again, and maybe the holding tanks as long as we're looking at this thing another time. Hopefully he catches that. Look at the awning, though. It has a center arm support because it's just so flippin' large. They just put the biggest awning on this they possibly could. XLS, Imagine, doesn't do any of the stable steps, though. They do these, like, aluminum, almost boat dock style grippy steps right here. Now, if you want a little more stability, Lippert does have a little set of legs that you can attach to that bottom step to fold out to provide some better stability. And let's get over here. I'm going to take a knee. My left knee hurts, so I'm going to kneel down on my right one. That's better. The underbelly's enclosed. It's forced air heated. There's a sticker on this thing that says Arctic Package 4 Seasons Insulation. I despise that phrasing. Basically, this RV has been rated from 0 to 100 degrees. So people are like, oh, I want one of those all seasons campers. Hasn't been invented. Doesn't exist. A true all seasons RV, like any weather, all weather, doesn't exist. That's not happened. You may have noticed the gas grill quick connect. It's just hanging off the right side of the screen right now. But we also have Goodyear Endurance radials. We are TPMS prepped, and the red calipers there. That's telling us that we have anti-lock braking on this travel trailer. Now, what's funny is because it's easier to hide the cost of a feature on a high-dollar fifth wheel. Fifth wheels are where we have first seen things like anti-lock braking introduced primarily to the towable RV industry. The truth is, travel trailers is where it's most important because fifth wheels organically tow better. I still think fifth wheels should have ABS, but I think travel trailers should absolutely have ABS. So I'm really, really glad to see that on here. Again, they've been listening to your feedback. They upgraded to a little bit larger 200-watt solar package, but with the charge controller that's on it, if you wanted to slap on a second solar panel, you could. Just factory doesn't offer that, but we could take care of that for you. You could DIY that if you're a little bit more handy. And they heard you. You said, we don't like Schwintek slides. If it's got a Schwintek slide, no sale. And they said, no sweat. They replaced that with a Slim Rack slide system that has been turning in a little bit better service records. And hopefully that trend continues. I'd love to see service records improve instead of degrade in the RV industry. I think that we would all like to, hold hands and thrash the bushes and sing Kumbaya and have better service records in the RV industry. It doesn't have a rear bumper, but it does have a rear receiver hitch where you can get a little cargo pod and, put like bike rack or generator or something like that in the back of it if you're so inclined. And in the back corner there is your on-demand water heater. That's a 60,000 BTU variety. The reason I like to point out the BTUs when I can is because people don't realize that not all on-demand water heaters are created equally. I was actually chatting with a customer yesterday, well, at least at the time that I'm recording this. Anyway, And they were adamant, do not want an on-demand water heater. And I said, no problem, but may I ask why? And they said because they could never get the water warm enough. And I asked them what kind of camper they had. And it was a brand that we carried at Bish's. And it was only a 42,000 BTU on-demand water heater. Well, the way those things work, a 42,000 BTU on-demand water heater can only heat the water coming in from the fresh line or in the holding tank 40 degrees. Well, this is a 60,000 BTU, which can heat the water coming in 59 degrees. And he goes, whoa, that extra 20 would have made the difference between me liking and hating that thing. So sometimes, you know, a little bit of info, a little education matters, and that's why my videos tend to run so stupidly long, you know. It's a basic docking station. I don't necessarily love how it's open face into the pass-through. And you might notice the double battery disconnect right there. That's because you have one house chassis disconnect, and then you have a solar disconnect, because just above the roof, actually, you can see it right up there, just, you know, above the roof line right here, you have that 200-watt solar panel. Well, if the RV's in storage, and you've pulled the battery off for storage, like through the winter or something like that, which is a good like if you're going to store the RV when it gets really cold, even though you get a solar package, you should probably still pull the battery and put it on a battery tender. But that solar panel could still fire up the charge controller, and you could actually end up nuking the charge controller over time. So this helps prevent that. Now, one of the only black eyes on this one is that it's a two-headed sewer monster. Up front here where your bathroom's located, you have your black and your gray outlet, but this RV has a second gray tank, which is why the holding tank capacities on the gray look so much bigger than everything else. So you have a second outlet just for your kitchen gray tank back here. So everybody, thanks again for tuning in. Now, I'm going to leave you a bunch of links in the video description. First of all, to double check MSRP and availability on this model. Now, these are super popular. We always try to have some in stock, but we do sell out sometimes. I also want to note we don't sell for MSRP. We just can't always advertise for less than that in the case specifically for Grand Design, just with their policies. Now, they weren't necessarily the first one to have a floor plan kind of similar to this, but they were the first ones to just really do it so well. And now a bunch of other brands have started cloning this floor plan to the tune that some of them literally call theirs the 23 LDE, hoping that you'll make that association and take a look at it. And I have footage of some of those. So what I'm going to do is drop a link in the description where you can check it out. And, you tell me, given the opportunity, which one would you go with and why? Jay Feather's got a good version. Tracer has a very interesting twist on this. Arctic Wolf, or Alpha Wolf in the travel trailers have something like that. Freedom Express is coming out with one. So I'd be kind of curious if they're all going to get into a boxing match and slug it out. Which one would be the last person trailer standing? Person trailer? I'll work that out later. In your opinion, if your dollars are on the line. So take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.